Hello to the, I don't know, hopefully at least like 200 people that will watch this video. Thank you for being here. Today I'm going to try making Hasselback potatoes for the first time, and more specifically, Garlicky Hasselback sweet potatoes. Yay! I'm going to be using the New York Times recipe. This is my first time attempting a Hasselback potato of any kind, let alone a lumpy sweet potato. So we'll see how it goes. From what I understand, a Hasselback potato is just sort of a beautiful method for cutting the potato, where you get lots of tiny little slits of potato, and then when you pour butter and stuff on it, it soaks up all the flavor really well. Because this is my first time, I'm sure I'll discover what works well for me and what doesn't. So then if you try to make Hasselback potatoes for the first time, maybe you can avoid some of the same foibles that I encounter here. It'll be like you've sort of already made them, or at least like you were hanging out with somebody and they made them and you watched. So you a little bit have an idea of what you're doing. You're coming in more knowledgeable than me, and I want that for you. Let's get started. The very first thing we need to do is preheat the oven to 425 degrees. Next, I'm going to grab my cast iron skillet and pour about a tablespoon of olive oil into it. I'm just gonna eyeball it, and then I'm going to swirl it around so that the olive oil evenly coats the bottom of the pan. It'll get nice and shiny. There I am, just reflecting on how good these sweet potatoes are about to be, hopefully. I'm going to put the cast iron skillet in the oven while I slice my potatoes. Let it get nice and hot. Here's my potato. I'm going to give it a quick scrub off camera, but now it's ready to cut. So I'm first going to cut it in half lengthwise and place the cut side down on the cutting board. So I read that there was this chopsticks trick where you could put chopsticks on either side of the potato to keep the knife from slicing all the way through. But I misinterpreted what they meant by that, so I just put my chopsticks underneath the potato, which was incorrect. I get it now. I get it. I was supposed to put the chopsticks on either side of the potato, and then that makes sense. The knife wouldn't be able to get all the way down to the cutting board. But I just elevated my potato a little bit with the chopsticks. As I was doing it, I was wondering how this was supposed to prevent the knife from going all the way through, and it turns out it wasn't, because I did it wrong. And so we did have a couple little snafus here. I did accidentally chop a couple pieces off, but all things considered, I think it went pretty well overall. The goal was to make each slice roughly 1/8 of an inch thick and slice most of the way through the potato, but obviously not all the way through. Oh no! No! And you know what? I'm gonna call it a win. For my first time, I think it went okay, but don't make the same mistake I did. If you're going to try the chopsticks trick, which I do think would help, make sure to put the chopsticks just on either side of the potato and not underneath. Now that I've Hasselbacked both halves of potato, I'm going to grab the hot skillet from the oven. I did burn myself a little bit here on accident, so be careful. And place each potato cut side down in the hot oil. Then we want to drizzle the top of each potato with a little bit more olive oil. I'm gonna use this handy spray bottle I have and just give it a light coating. Add some salt, and we're going to bake for 30 minutes. While the potato's baking, we can get our garlic butter ready. The recipe calls for 2 tablespoons of unsalted butter. All I have is this Earth Balance buttery spread, which does have salt, so I'm not going to add any extra salt here. I'm just going to measure out 2 tablespoons of the Earth Balance butter. Please don't come for me. You can use real butter. It doesn't matter. Let's all just live our lives. Then what's this? I have 4 garlic cloves. I'm going to use my handy dandy garlic press to mince each of these into the small saucepan as well. I'm also going to add red pepper flakes because that sounds delicious. Once the butter's melted, you don't need to heat this up anymore. We can just set it aside until the potato is ready. And here it is after 30 minutes in the oven. I'm going to use this small metal spatula to kind of peel apart each of the layers a little bit, make a little bit more space between each slice, and then let's do it. Let's brush on our garlic butter. I'm going to give it a little stir, really load up my little brush here, and then just kind of pat it on, trying to kind of push it into the cracks as much as possible with middling success. I'm also going to use the metal spatula again to kind of shove some of the garlic butter in there as I go, and I think that helped. But the garlic butter smells amazing, and I'm starting to get pretty excited about these. Here they are, nice and drenched in the garlic butter. We're going to put them back in the oven for 10 more minutes. Cat's trying to lick the oil that's in the skillet. Get down! She's bad. She needs to be stopped. And here we are 10 minutes later. I'm super happy with how these came out. I feel like they look pretty much how they were supposed to. The bottom does look a little crispy. The crispiness on the bottom is actually delicious. These are very flavorful potatoes. Delicious. A great way to eat a whole sweet potato. Thank you so much for watching. This was a fun recipe to try. And maybe now I'm a Hasselback girl. I ain't no holla back girl, but I am a Hasselback girl.